Hello and good afternoon, Xbox Nation. Welcome to this week's hot off the presses new episode of the Xbox Factor podcast. I am one of your hosts, Mr. Boomstick XL, and my God, there is so much to talk about. Big numbers from Game Pass, Microsoft dropping gauntlets left and right regarding what's going on with Xbox Live, Phil Spencer getting out there and giving us even more information on the Xbox Series X, and a ton of other things to talk about. But let's get into the panel that will help us make this one of the best Xbox shows on YouTube. And that's right, I dare say such a thing. First up, you know him as Master Culinary Chef and also Raccoon City Police Department #1 detective, Zemi Games. Welcome to the show, my brother.
Thank you so much, Boom. I'm super excited to be here, man. And dude, man, it's just such a great time to be a gamer. And like 2020, new console generation's about to start. So many games to play, too many games to play. Ton of news has just recently happened. Can't wait to jump into it. So yeah, thank you so much.
Okay, well, it's great to always have you a part of this show. Like I said, you're one of the cogs that make it go, and it's certainly fantastic that you are with us each and every week. Next up, you know him as our resident educator, someone that knows something or two about playing games, and he also has an outstanding podcast called the Xbox Expansion Pass, who interviews big-time development people, and like I said, not only all of that under his belt, but guess what? He's actually a really good guy. Please welcome Insipid Ghost.
Thank you for having me here, Boom. Always a pleasure. It has become a highlight of my week to join you guys for lunch every day and to have a good old time chatting video games. Ooh, we got some bombs to talk about today. It's exciting. I'm stoked, man. Thanks for having me.
Oh, well, it's great to have you on as always. And yes, we do have some serious bombs to talk about. Next up, you know him as the voice of the amazing and ultra positive PlayStation show known as the Trophy Room. And we got a chance to hear and see Mr. Badbit's emotional side this week. And guess what, folks? He's not done, because tomorrow's Breakfast with Boom is going to be salty. It's going to be filled with fire. And the first topic is about that we're going to be talking about in absolute depth is what happens to Naughty Dog next after what has happened this week. Welcome to the show, Mr. Badbit. Glad to have you here, dude.
And guess what I'm about to drop, guys?
What's that, sir?
May 7th at 11 a.m. EST time. The first look at the Xbox Series X gameplay. What up? That's from Xbox itself. Literally just saw that on Twitter.
Holy shit.
Bam.
So what you're telling me is
what
May
I'm
7th.
telling you is the PlayStation guy just gave this Xbox show the biggest news that they need to hear right now.
I feel attacked. I feel threatened. I'm so excited. Seriously, that's awesome.
Again, that's freaking awesome, dude. I can't wait, because Xbox has been just absolutely out of the gate killing it.
How do I, as a showrunner, miss such a thing? Did this thing
just happened 38 seconds ago?
You were very, very busy at the time, Boom.
Mm-hmm.
You were very busy at the time.
You were giving Zemi the shout out, and that's what I saw.
That's right.
Ooh, that's news. That's really cool.
Yeah, I mean, look, well, you know what? I'm going to pull it up, and we're going to get into it. But we do have one amazing guest that's been joining us almost on a weekly basis. He's become part of the Xbox team. You know him as our man of the international waters, all the way from Germany, Archimedes. Welcome, my friend.
Thank you, Boom. Thank you for having me. What an exciting day. Vikings just dropped. Now the announcement, I'm seeing it on Twitter right now. May 7th, next week, we will get Xbox Series X gameplay. I couldn't be more excited. And let's start with the show. We have some awesome topics aligned.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm gonna say this. You know, we have to open up with the May 7th situation. Again, this is again, as a content creator, we put these shows together. We take the time to write them out, and it's very rare. It is almost uncanny. It's like seeing the Yeti. It's like seeing a UFO, or possibly the most unbelievable lucky leprechaun and finding his pot of gold, we have breaking news. Now, the breaking news, obviously, thanks to Mr. Badbit, our resident PlayStation guy. I love it. I mean, the irony in that is just making me smile from ear to ear that I feel like the Joker. But thank you so much for that information, Joe. It is always great to have you not only a part of this show, but to have you give your input, because you are a gamer through and through. And that is really what matters at the end of the day. But you know what? Let's talk about May 7th. May 7th is next week. We're going to get our first real gameplay from the Xbox Series X. It makes me wonder if the other surprise that are going to be a part of this is going to be, Halo Infinite gameplay, which I think would be unbelievable. I still think we're going to get a trailer of sorts for Fable, and I still think we're going to get the Xbox Series X, the S, finally to let us know this bad boy right here, which of course I think is what it's going to look like. Some other people disagree. They think it's going to be the same size. I don't think it needs to be, but we will see. Only time will tell. Let me start off with Zemi Games. Zemi, this is unbelievable breaking news, and I actually called this, that I thought that it might happen this week. Particularly Thursday was my day, and here we are Thursday, and yep, there you go, May 7th, which I believe is a Wednesday. Is that correct?
It is literally
it's
a
Thursday.
week from now. It's Thursday.
It's a Thursday.
Yep,
It's a
literally
Thursday.
week
So
from
we're gonna have to figure this out somehow. When we're gonna do this show, we may have to have the show postponed to the evening to break down everything that happened. But again, first of all, Zemi, Microsoft just continues to kill it. I mean, they just continue to just dominate people's minds, and they continue to make waves in a way that we've never seen before. What are your thoughts on the May 7th announcement?
Hey, if Xbox wants to have an inside Xbox and give me more Xbox information, who am I to complain? I just hope that we get to see, chickens and the kicking of chickens, the abuse of chickens. I want to see 15 chickens.
You're going to have PETA after this show. I want you to understand.
I want to see them locked in those Japanese cages. But I really do want to see Fable. I think Fable is fantastic, and we've been talking about it. It has me super pumped for it. And I really want to see Fable, or just the words. It would be fine. I think it's going to be super exciting to possibly see actual gameplay from the Series X. I mean, we've kind of somewhat seen, I guess, gameplay, if you want to count in those videos where they were talking about how quick, like the quick resume feature and how quick the games can load up. I mean, they played like 2 seconds of Ori and the Will of the Wisp and stuff like that. But I want to see like next gen games being played on, the next gen Xbox. And I think it's going to be really exciting to see that. But Xbox, they just keep coming out with more information. We're constantly talking about them. They're constantly in the news, and I think it's doing wonders for them. So.
Yeah, you know what? Real quick, I just happened to, because I was looking for the story, because I want to read directly from the press release. I can't seem to find it. I don't know what I'm doing wrong here. It's because I'm probably stupid. I'm running the show, but I have to catch up on these super chats. Now, before I actually do that, I want to say this: the amount of DMs and well wishes to Mrs. Boomstick, because she's been ill, and if everyone wants to know, she's had a migraine unlike anything she's ever had before. And she's actually home today, and she's going to be home tomorrow. She tried to go in today, and we had to turn around because she was going to throw up all over the place. Thankfully, she's not throwing up thanks to this migraine. She's sleeping. We have some migraine medication that the doctor prescribed, and it seems to be working. So I just want to thank everybody for the well wishes. And if anyone that suffered migraines, and I suffered them, I understand. It is vicious. So thank everybody for the well wishes, and let me just catch up on some of these super chats because there are a ridiculous amount. First of all, Hassan Abaziad says he drops an outstanding and very generous $10 super chat. Says, "What's up, Boom and panel? Glad to hear you back. By the way, inside Xbox for Series X coming May 7th. Oh, yeah, so it is going to be an inside Xbox. This is going to be big." Nightwolf 3186 drops an outstanding $5 super chat and says, "This breaking news on Xbox Twitter. They just revealed the May event date. Thank you for that. Michelle Snow, Michael Snow drops an outstanding and very generous $2 super chat and doesn't leave a comment. If you have something you want me to touch on, Michael, just message me in the chat and I will be more than happy to read that out. Eagles fan 76 drops a $2 super chat and says Vikings on XSX. Xbox is getting the marketing. Yes. And I actually thought Sony had the marketing. This is a big surprise. Spider-Man drops a $5 super chat and says this: you need to grab a lawyer and sue Ryan McCaffrey on lock to use your catchphrase, call a spade a spade. You might take legal action. Loving the show. Yeah, dude, I'm sure that he listens to this show, even though he does have me blocked on Twitter, which is fine because we did have I think a fair dispute, which is fine. If he uses the hashtag, this is a spade, what are you gonna do? At least I can say that I said it first, and you guys and gals know that I did. Michael Snow drops an additional $5 super chat and says this: as a U.S. Army infantry veteran. Oh, thank you for your service there, my brother. I am glad I found this channel. As I am a new subscriber, I look forward to more shows like this. Oh, dude, first of all, yes, I'm ex-military as well. I served during the Navy during Desert Storm, the first go-around in Afghanistan. And then, of course, I made my way over to be a New York City police officer for 21 plus years and serve the amazing people here in this city. So I want to thank you for your service. Asan Abaziad drops a $5 super chat. Another one. Thank you so much for your generosity. He says AC Game will be part of the show Ubisoft just tweeted. Oh my God, this is crazy. So we're gonna get to see Assassin's Creed running on the Series X. This is unbelievable. And Smuzz 246 drops a $5 super chat and says this: haven't been able to support my favorite show in a while. So here you go. The Assassin's Creed Valhalla trailer is lit. Have a great show. First of all, dude, the fact that you're even here listening is more support than I even think I'm worth. I'm going to be honest with you, but I do super appreciate the generosity. And our brother, who's bringing us to church once again, Smitty Smith, drops a $10 super chat and says this: just wanted to send a couple of ginger ales to Mrs. Boomstick and settle her stomach a little. Yes, thank you so much for that. And I will say that the Book of X, thank you so much. And Vogelskrieg drops a $2 super chat and says, boom, I DM'd you the Twitter X. Oh, yes, I'm going to check that out. Thank you so much, Vogelskrieg. Appreciate that. And Robert Jones shows his unbelievable generosity once again and drops a $22 super chat and says, keep up the good work. May 7th can't come fast enough. Oh, yes. Thank you so much for your generosity. And, of course, the words, because, yes, May 7th is going to be lit. As I continue with the May 7th event, I want to go to Luke. Luke, first of all, now we have all of this confirmation that not only are we getting an Inside Xbox on the 7th, we're getting an Inside the Xbox that's going to focus on the Series X. It's what we've all been waiting for. And now confirmation from Ubisoft that Assassin's Creed Valhalla will be there running on the console. How incredibly excited are you to see this reveal?
I'm extremely excited. I think it was very obvious from the moment we heard Bit tell us that we're like, oh my gosh, seriously, this is incredible. I'm stoked to see what they're bringing. I think it also adds a bit of I cast a bit of light onto why they had an Inside Xbox when they did a few weeks ago.
Yes.
That was maybe, I think I would call it lackluster, but also important in setting a tone. I would imagine they actually use that as a trial run to get the kinks out of the system from working from home to prep for this far bigger one where we're going to see Series X gameplay. Also interesting to note, they very specifically say first look Xbox Series X. There's no mention of a Series S. There's no mention of hardware. And they also talk about global partners, meaning that we're going to see more than just Xbox Game Studio stuff. And we do have confirmation that Valhalla will be included in that. But man, oh man, it is neat to see the pace at which they are bringing us information. They gave us the Inside Xbox a few weeks ago. They're bringing us one in early May, as we all suspected, but they're doing it. While they didn't message the trademark a few weeks ago, they were very aware that it would go public. Phil Spencer's showing up on podcasts. Aaron Greenberg's interacting with things. Yes. We have the Game Pass news. They are firing on every single cylinder out the gate, and it's impressive when you put it up next to the Stadia Connect. when you put it up against when you put
18,000 people want that.
I know.
That's just unnecessary.
I'm sorry, guys. I couldn't help it. I wasn't even trying to make a joke, but yeah, 18 people.
No. You know what? Listen. What you're trying to say makes a lot of sense, because you have to understand something. The tactics that are currently being used, you see, and again, I want people to understand this, and we need to take a look back. We need to look back to how these companies were raised and failed, right? You go back to the PlayStation 2 era, right? Xbox is just chugging along, that, you know, the new kid on the block, they're the engine that could. And, you know, quite frankly, the PlayStation 2 is one of the best consoles probably ever made, in some people's opinion, not mine, but I have to give it credit, because I spent thousands upon thousands of dollars on multiple units, because I bought it every time they changed it. I bought it. I enjoyed the console. And, you know, you look at they went from PS3 to PS2 to PS3, and that was an epic fail. Right now, yes, they came back towards the end, but it was a rough go at it, right? PlayStation 4, they did everything right, and they did it right out of the gate. This is how you trade games. Right there, that one statement won them the generation, whether people want to admit that or not. And then you tack on the changing of the guards, and, you know, for when you look at the media, the Xbox during the 360 era was the darling. And that changed, right? And then of all the and so many things changed that led up to what happened in this generation. All of the tactics that Sony used to make them the most selling console just about almost ever with the PlayStation 4 is being used against them. And we have to look back as to what the changes that have come to that company in the last 6 to 8 months have been more devastating than people are willing to either talk about or admit. You cannot move that many chess pieces and not have problems. I'm sorry, that's just the way it is. And with Microsoft now, man, again, I hearken back to December 12th. My God, they have not stopped. They have not taken their foot off the gas. And anything else, Luke, that you'd like to add to this bananas that we're seeing in front of us?
I just really want to reiterate that this reinforces something we've been saying for months, and that is they have confidence in their product, confidence in their production line, and confidence in their ability to provide services to support their products. And I'm not just talking about Game Pass. I'm talking about games with Gold's methodology, perhaps is the right way to put that, because it has ups and downs there, but also with xCloud. They are firing on every cylinder, and they have confidence throughout. And there's a lot to read into on that I think is finally starting to show itself in a way that's not simply YouTuber speculation. You know, it's not just us speculating on the what ifs. We're finally seeing tangible things that we can dive into on a more concrete level.
Yeah, no, dude, I everything that you said is spot on. I wouldn't change a word. Let's bring in Mr. Badbit. Mr. Badbit, look.
What up?
You know that we all love you here, and quite frankly, you have become. Well, I mean, I know you and Luke are only buddies, but you know, you do what brothers do, and you stick each other when they're down. That's just the way it is. But my point, Mr. Badbit, is, you know, from a Sony's point of view, you as a gamer, and I want people to understand this. Yes, he has a trophy room show. Yes, his where he lays his head is on the PlayStation Nation. Guess what? He probably has a PlayStation blanket that he sleeps with, and that is okay.
I told you that in private.
I'm sorry, damn it. I shouldn't have told anybody. But
the confidence, damn it.
The truth of the matter. The truth of the matter is that you love to talk about and look at a particular situation from the sideline where logic leads the conversation. And I think that is what people truly appreciate about what you bring to not only your own channel, but every time you're on one of these shows. My question to you is, how big of a deal is this going to be for Microsoft, where they're getting out first, showing their games first, running on the Xbox Series X first?
First is important. First is insanely important. And to me, when I take a look at what Xbox is doing, it's not actually, to me, what PlayStation has done in the past, where I take a look at it through the realm of like how they're manipulating social media and things like Twitter. And I mean, social media has become more and more important. It's the thing that it's the thing that pushes narratives forward, no matter what space you're in. It's more important than ever. Like the last two presidents won because of the way that they tackled and handled social media. And that's something that's a lot of people kind of take for granted. But the thing that Microsoft has done so well so far is that they understand, look, this reveal event is for the people that usually don't, they're not listening to us. You know what I mean?
Right.
They're not, chomping at the bit for the next bit of news. They're the people that, they like games and whatever, like our friend Kev, Luke and I's friend Kev, he's a big gamer, but he's not listening to every podcast. He doesn't care about my opinion on stuff. So, it's for people like him who these companies need to impress. They need to stake their claim on. And I think being first is important, but the most important thing is being the most impactful. This is the first moment truly where messaging now matters. And leading up to this reveal, I have a huge amount of confidence for what Microsoft is going to show and what they're going to tell us, the consumers, to get us excited for the Xbox brand. Because yes, it's going to focus a lot on series, but we were talking about it later. It's going to also be a lot about Game Pass and being able to play anywhere and having power if you want it and having convenience if you want it as well. So for me, it's important that Microsoft is, shows not just, look, Fable, Halo, that's a guarantee, and now Assassin's Creed, but then also nail down that fact, which I feel like they're doing excellently, and I feel is the only nail in PlayStation's coffin if they don't do this, but they haven't announced it, so reason to believe that they do. But the thing that Microsoft has nailed down so far is that you're playing here, guess what? All your games carry over, right?
Yeah.
You're playing here. You bought Assassin's Creed on your Xbox One. Well, guess what? When you update, you will have the PlayStation 5 version, the Xbox Series X version. That smart delivery is super important. So I can guarantee you that is going to be a huge part of the narrative, that they understand the economic situation in the room here. They understand that this console is going to be very expensive, and this is going to be a console that most people don't buy in the first 2 years. So their whole push right now is, let's make a narrative of how beautiful and how awesome this thing runs games, while at the same exact time reassuring folks that saying, hey, when you upgrade, we're here for you in big ways.
Yeah.
And so that's the big thing. It's the impression. This is the moment that matters, right? Everything else is literally, it's not even important. This is the main thing that's going to drive the most attention. This will get eyes and ears on it from publications, from websites that usually don't cover video games. This will be on your CNNs. This will be on your whatever have you. I don't know. That's the only news thing I got. Like, this will be in the New York Times. This will be a huge moment. So this is the moment that actually matters, and I have nothing but confidence. And before I let my tangent go here, this is what me and Kyle in the Trophy Room PlayStation podcast made by the players for the players have been wanting for over 2 years now. We want this Xbox. If you're a gamer, doesn't matter where you're playing, I want both of these corporations to actually fight for my wallet in major ways. And we're going to see it on May 7th.
It's funny you should say that, because you got to remember, competition breeds better games, right? I think we can all agree that when Sony goes at it 100%, Microsoft is forced to go 110%. When Microsoft is hitting on all cylinders like they are, you have to imagine that Sony at some point is going to come at them at 115%, and vice versa. And Nintendo, well, you can't ever count Nintendo out. And whenever you think Nintendo is being quiet or coy, they drop Metroid Prime 4 information or something to that effect. It's going to be
and who wins whenever all that happens?
We win, Emmy.
That's right.
Yes, excellent point. Let me bring in Archimedes, but Archimedes, let me just catch up on two of these super chats that just popped in here. First of all, our very good friend and very generous friend of the show, Sin Vendetta, drops a $10 super chat and says this. So on May 7th, this is the day that the announcement that of CD Projekt Red will be acquired by Microsoft, and that Cyberpunk 2077 goes into Game Pass day and date will be made. I'm going to tell you this right now. If that happens, the internet is going to break. It's officially going to break, and it's not going to work anymore for weeks. And that's not a good thing.
I mean, part of me does think someday, soon you'll see CD Projekt Red. You'll see them put Cyberpunk on Game Pass. I think that's just inevitable. But CD Projekt Red has eventually happen. They have absolutely nothing to gain by being bought out.
Yes, they are the second richest European company.
They also own their own. Yeah, they have their own platform. GOG.
They have
they have
good old
complete
games.
freedom, financial freedom. Fortunately, for y'all Xbox fans, they're going to be multi-platform.
But you know what, though? All jokes aside, what I've called this, I know Zemi has called this already. What we honestly believe in our heart of hearts is you're getting in September Cyberpunk, right? That's coming out in September, and that's confirmed, but almost basically confirmed that I don't think we're going to have any delay or anything. No. They're going to sell within the first 60 days. Anywhere between 10 and 15 million copies across multiple platforms, right? I'm going to say the high 15s. That's just my opinion because I think the game is
10.
It's great. Anywhere between 10 and 15. Once that amount has sold, Microsoft has probably already cut a check with a ridiculous amount of zeros. That's going to include and just imagine the marketing ploy here. Just imagine this for a second. Mm-hmm. Xbox Series X comes out this day in November, whatever date it is, 17th, let's just say, because that's what I'm calling. I'm calling the 17th. Okay, I don't know what Randall Thor has called yet, but I'm calling the 17th. Okay, I'm not even sure what day when that falls on the calendar, but I'm saying the 17th. Mm-hmm. And in their marketing, most powerful console, all the bells and whistles that you want, play here, the best here. They have all these marketing deals, rah, or launch titles. Boom, they drop Halo Infinite. It's going to be available. A bunch of other surprises, maybe Project Gotham. Oh my God, maybe that would be great. That'd be a really big surprise. I love Project Gotham, but they say Motorsport 8 is going to be a release title, a few small other ones, and then on the same infomercial, if you will, they say, the big Xbox Game Pass game dropping day and date as the console launches Cyberpunk 2077. People are going to lose their shit. I mean, that's just the bottom line. And it would be incredible. I think it's going to be in there after they've sold 15 million copies, because at that point, they're going to get more eyes on it because it's going to be the best place to play because it's going to be the best version. And if we know that Microsoft has the marketing rights for it. So it's going to be a big deal. Sir X-Men, a good friend of the channel, drops a $5 super chat. Thank you for that, my friend. He says, I wish I could get back to the day when I can play one game at a time until I'm tired of it and bouncing between. I hate bouncing between games, dude. It bothers me. Like I don't have OCD, but I can't bounce between games. I just can't do it. I'm going back to one game at a time. And our good friend Nightwolf 3186 drops an additional $5 super chat and says this: best days of wrestling was, oh my God, yes, WCW versus WWF. Ultimately, the fans won. Now we're going to witness the Xbox Series X versus the PS5. Watch again, fans win. Let me tell you something, dude. The best days of wrestling were the days of the NWO. Oh my God. I could not miss a minute, and I could watch that wrestling right now as if it was new. Ice Dragon, thank you for being here, my friend. He drops a $2 super chat and says, should read Aaron Greenberg's new tweet. Yeah, I'm gonna get to that, dude. I'm gonna, when other people are talking, I'm gonna have to investigate this and possibly bring this back around. But Archimedes, you, my friend, have not only been very busy as a content creator, putting out incredible reviews, and of course your personal opinions on the world goings of gaming. But you have being a part of this show has been great for me because I get to hear your amazing opinion. What are your thoughts on the May 7th confirmation? What are you expecting?
Oh, I'm expecting a lot. But I think we all should be aware that this is the smaller event of the two that are coming. They already have put that out, that they have two events, the major one in June. And this one is only the first one. So and they announced it as an Inside Xbox. We all know the format of Inside Xbox. So I don't expect a E3 kind of event. But Mr. Badbit touched on it a bit. It's important for them to come out now as first of the two major console developers releasing a console this year and show games. Yeah, running next-gen games on next-gen hardware. It will look insane on the Series X. We know that games will look fantastic on the PlayStation 5 as well, but being out there first is the important thing. And for them showing probably Halo Infinite, yeah, and they said they show gameplay from their development partners. So I expect, for instance, the Assassin's Creed game to be shown there, probably something like Cyberpunk or another third or second party deal they signed. I don't think we will see the Series X, to be honest. Pardon me, the Series S, the Lockhart console. Right. I don't think we will see that. I think that they will show that console along with the console price of the Series X, and I don't think that they will drop the price next week. Yeah, so
no, the price I would imagine price reservation and Series S look could possibly come in June, and I'm gonna tell you why. Because we know that on June 2nd, the official PlayStation magazine is going to be revealing some titles for the PlayStation 5. That was up on the cover of their magazine, and I think we've heard somewhere around the 6th we're going to get a Sony event. That's what we're hearing, Joe. I don't know if you heard the same thing, but if in fact that
say that again, I'm sorry. I was reading the Aaron Greenberg thing.
No, I was saying that we know that the new the PlayStation magazine is on the 2nd of June is going to be revealing some PlayStation 5 titles, which is very exciting.
They pretty much reveal the thing that they revealed is the PlayStation event's happening in May.
Oh.
If that's it, now we don't know if they're doing a 2-step approach like Microsoft.
Because I thought it was going to be June. I heard June 6th for Sony, but maybe they didn't want to wait.
Yeah, no, that magazine is like showing off. It's pretty much like a snippet of like what they showed at whatever event they're making. A part of me thinks it's a state of play, like it's something similar to what we're going to see from Series X.
Okay.
My thing is now that Xbox has spoken, Sony knows they gotta talk soon.
Yes, I would agree 100%. Yes,
absolutely. So they can't leave the media too long to Microsoft. They have to react, and I have heard similar things. Yeah, that the June thing from PlayStation is that the cover story on 2nd of June is just a recap of what they have already shown. So there must be something in advance before June the 2nd.
Yeah. So they either already have it prepped, like this Xbox event was probably prepped at least 3 months in advance.
Yeah.
So like they probably already have something prepped and probably raring to go. So I wouldn't be surprised if we hear something from them sooner rather than later. But you know what? This is an Xbox show.
No. Again, I mean, I appreciate your opinion because when we got to remember, when we talk about one, you have to talk about the other, good, bad, or otherwise. But you know what? Anything else, Archimedes, you'd like to add to this before we move on to one of the main topics of today's show?
Yeah. You originally asked what I expect. To be honest, I expect some sort of announcement of a demo or a beta for Halo Infinite. I think that would knock the fans out of their socks.
Yes,
and they would keep
point.
The discussion off Xbox in social media going with that. Yeah, if they launch in a couple of weeks a beta for Halo Infinite, that would be insane for the fans, and they would own the social media. And I think that they might do something like that.
Archimedes, don't get me riled up like that. That got me.
We just started the show.
Let me
Damn
tell
it.
you, man.
I will tell you what, Bit and I have been playing through. We just finished Halo 3 and Reach, right?
Yeah, we just finished Reach.
So,
And let me tell you something. This is the ultimate strength that Microsoft has is they are able to show you you're actually going to get to. I'm excited now. You actually get to play the next gen game before it's actually on the next gen console. Like that is an ultimate like get hyped moment for the fans to get everybody on board and to sell Game Pass. It's awesome.
Yeah, no. Again, this is coming together like let me tell you what I expect this to happen is if anyone did not see Endgame, I'm not going to spoil anything. I'm just going to say there was a moment where one of my amazing and favorite characters of all time was holding something in his left hand that completely. You felt it was coming, right? You knew that he was going to do this, and then the icing on the cake was on your left, which is something which was a callback all the way to, of course, Winter Soldier. And just talking about it, folks, I got goosebumps. And I think that is what the combination of what is going to happen with the Xbox brand and this new console and this new generation is going to be all of these different things that would be considered each and their own hero in a way and going to come together to do this one big thing. It is going to be epic. I honestly have to say I could not have been happier to be a content creator now, to be able to talk about this with as many people as I'm able to talk about it. And that, obviously we're closing in on almost 400 people, which is unbelievable. But you know what? Let's get to one of the main topics. Now, obviously, when you do these shows again, we're all, even though we don't work in the numbers industry, we are all numbers people, right? Because we have to have content that people want to hear about. And one of the pieces of content that came out yesterday that completely it shocked me, but it didn't, was this picture right here. Xbox Game Pass surpasses 10 million subscribers. Now, folks, we have to put into perspective. I saw people, of course, in the most gross way talking about how this number is irrelevant. It's unimportant. It took, I'm not sure what, I don't remember what one point some guy tried to use where, well, it took them 3 years to get this many numbers and this other company did it in 3 years and they have to, folks, we have to understand something. I don't care where you play. I don't care where you sleep at night. I don't care who you sleep with. But at the same time, you have to tip your hat and give credit where credit is due. This program, the Xbox Game Pass, by many accounts, many content creators that I've been on their shows used to call this a never was, that it was unimportant, that it had no relevance, that it devalued the Xbox, that it was hurting their first parties. And to see that they have crossed 10 million subs since launching this in the summer of 2017 is nothing short of one of the biggest accomplishments in gaming. Just look at a perfect example of how important the numbers are. Let's go into, thanks to Luke, of course, and Mr. Badbit, who actually put this in our DM, which I made a slide. Let's break down some numbers here, because you can have an opinion, but you can't change what is facts, and the numbers are the facts, and the numbers are the numbers. So Frank X. Shore, who is the lead communications officer from Microsoft, tweeted out this: "We saw record engagement in this gaming quarter. Xbox Live has nearly 90 million monthly active users. Xbox Game Pass has more than 10 million subscribers. Project xCloud has hundreds of thousands. Understand the number, folks. Hundreds of thousands of active users during the preview that is available across 7 countries, with more coming." Now, here's the second part of this. Since March, Xbox Game Pass members have added over 23 million friends on Xbox Live, which is a 70% growth in friendship rate. Okay, I love this. I love this stat because some people are going to poo-poo this is just drinking lattes and singing kumbaya. But folks, being someone's friend is a good thing, and being friends with people online that you can trust and play with confidence is also good. So don't try and downplay that. It continues with Xbox Game Pass members are also playing twice as much and engaging in more multiplayer game sessions, which have increased by 130%. Also continues, Xbox Game Pass is empowering players and their friends to branch out and discover new games they might not have played before. One of the most biggest opinions from many people who play Xbox Game Pass or who subscribe will be like, you know something? I tried a game that I never played. Here's a great example of this. Deliver Us the Moon is one of my favorite games this in 2020. I played through it. I played through it twice. I think I'm almost at 800 achievement points. I'm going to get 1,000 out of 1,000. And I might have missed this gem of a title because it would have been lost in the hundreds of games that are in the store. But because this went to Xbox Game Pass, they put it out there as a Game Pass title. They put out a video or a preview of it. I said I have to play this, and I could not stop playing it. So to close out this particular part of the article I have in front of us, and I will of course then go to
Boom.
Yes, sir.
I apologize for interrupting, but I do want to point out, Deliver Us the Moon actually came out some months ago
on PC. Yes.
And that's the coolest part about Game Pass, though, is they're seeing, to lead into our numbers, they're seeing a huge boom now in Spotlight. And they even tweeted about that. They one of their director made a comment about how much feedback they're getting, how much they're enjoying the positive words, and that's the power of Game Pass and having so many people have access. And I'll let you transition that, but it was just something that stood out in my mind.
No, that's a fantastic point. I'm actually going to go to you first, as a matter of fact, Luke. Let me just read this last snippet. It says, after joining Game Pass, people play 40% more games, and more than 90% of members have played a game that they wouldn't have tried without Game Pass, often discovering new genres they may not have experienced. These are all unbelievable, thought-provoking, friendship-making, community-making comments that make me, as an Xbox fan, smile from ear to ear, because nothing is just pushing numbers and forgetting what's important. And that is what playing games is all about. And they did that in this press release. Luke, I want to go to you first on this. First of all, 10 million plus subscriptions, active subscriptions to Game Pass is no easy feat. And it is unbelievable how they were able to achieve this many numbers in less than 3 years, because summer of 2020, which is a few months away, would make 3 years official from when Xbox Game Pass launched. What are your thoughts on this outstanding achievement?
I think it's something to be proud of on a number of levels, and it executes on a vision that really works on to be inclusive and expand the Xbox brand and platform well beyond the hardware. That 10 million subscribers is an access to 10 million gamers across multiple consoles and PCs, and the real objective that they have is screens. 10 million subscribers means that when Halo Infinite launches, they have 10 million possible people to play the game immediately, an audience of potential players immediately on that front. Deliver Us the Moon, which we just talked about, immediately could have been seen by 10 million people. That's something to be proud of and excited for, and that is the draw. That's why they're able to see Red Dead Redemption 2 drop in as a service, Witcher 3 drop in as a service to play in there on that level of AAA, but also why the indie game wants to be in there as well. I talked to Mike Biffle a few days ago. He saw a huge boost from Thomas Was Alone, a game that had been out for years when they went into Game Pass. That's the value of it, and it reiterates and it reminds us that we are not console locked or bound, and we're not going to be bound by a hardware gate going forward. xCloud is going to be tied into their subscription services on one way or another, because they have to finance it. And for hundreds of thousands of people to be involved in xCloud during a beta where you have to request access means there was interest. And if that access is opened up to those Game Pass subscribers, or they transition games with gold that way, there is a wonderful potential to bring people in. I also, to forgive me for going long in the tooth, but the idea of those friendships executes on the vision of the multiplayer games that can be played single player, the Sea of Thieves, the State of Decays. You can bring people in. It shows us that Game Pass allows us to build relationships when we might not have them, just particularly during a time of social isolation. I am 100% confident.
That's a great point.
Yeah, and they did not plan for that part, but they built an infrastructure to handle it quite well. I can tell you right now, I've had some of the best gaming days of my year playing with Mr. Babbitt and our friend Kevin. We played through Halo 3, Halo Reach. We've been playing a lot of Halo Wars just to hang out, and we're probably going to play Streets of Rage, which launched day and date into that.
I've been playing it, folks. We're going to talk about in a second about how the importance of Game Pass. Let me just bring up the screen, because I'm going to tell you this right now. As an old school gamer, my God, Streets of Rage 4.
Think about the power of that. It's available on PlayStation, Switch, and I think PC.
PC as well, yes.
Okay. But 10 million subscribers to Game Pass can play it day and date without having to drop $25.
And here's the advertisement for it right on the screen. Play Streets of Rage 4, available on launch day, Xbox Game Pass. The power, what you're talking about, is unbelievable.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, what does that do for the marketing of that game? That so many people are clicking share. That so many people are like, hey, try this out. That those friendships and those relationships. Hey, dude. You want to play Streets of Rage? I don't know if I want to pay for it. No problem, man. It's on Game Pass.
Real talk. You just said it's multiplayer, so I just turned on my Xbox and get it right now.
There you go.
I don't want to forget.
I love it.
That's it. So I went long in the tooth, but I hope
listen, dude. This is a conversational podcast. There's no time limit. You talk as long as you need to talk. That is the fun of this show. Listen, we have 5 topics. We're not going to get to them all, because 2 were off the cuff, and that's just the way these shows run, and that's the way I like them to run. Because at the end of the day, we're here to talk about Xbox, and we're getting our opinions out there for everyone to enjoy and hopefully agree. Real quick, I want to catch up on some of the super chats. First of all, Ice Dragon had dropped a $2 super chat earlier, and I believe I read it, but he said, read Aaron Greenberg's new tweet, and thanks to Zemi Games' unbelievable skills as not only a chef, but a co-host, he got me the tweet, and it says this: so pumped to see our partners showing us a first look at Xbox Series X gameplay next week. Also, know that the Xbox Game Studio teams are hard at work on some big summer plans. More details soon. Hashtag get hype with the emoji of the high fives. And Crazy Mate Gaming, good friend of the channel, drops a $5 super chat and says this: when do you think they will release a beta for Halo Infinite? And if they will, I hope Mrs. Boomstick gets better soon. Yeah, dude, she's doing better. She's just a little bit slow. That migraine just really kicked her ass. But thank you for the well wishes. I think it's going to be one of the announcements. If not in May, I think it's going to be an announcement in June, because that would be mammoth. If they turn around and said, yeah, in September, we're going to be dropping a Halo Infinite beta for the multiplayer, it's gonna freak everybody out, and everyone's gonna get excited. Sin Vendetta once again shows his outstanding generosity and drops a $10, which says May 7th is the day that okay, wait a second. I might have read that already. He says, unless it's another one, he says May 7th is the day that the announcement of CD Projekt Red will be acquired. Yeah, I did read that. Right, acquired by Microsoft, and that Cyberpunk 2077 goes into Game Pass. That would be awesome. It says here, Michael Snow drops an outstanding and very generous $1 super chat. Thank you so much. Appreciate that, Michael, very much. Michael Snow once again shows his outstanding generosity and drops an additional $5 super chat. Says, You can get Game Pass Ultimate for free with Xbox Microsoft Rewards. I have 3 years all of the time, never paid for it. Oh, dude, that's amazing, dude. There's nothing like free. I'll tell you that right now. And James drops a $5 super chat, says, what if they make the beta access to Game Pass Ultimate members for Halo Infinite? I don't think they would do that. I don't think they would. Microsoft is not a paywall kind of a person with like that.
If
you
anything,
have to have.
It's like it'll probably be like play it first if you're an Ultimate member.
Maybe
I know they did something like that with Bleeding Edge, but then like it was available for everyone.
Yes, I agree. Well, I mean, listen, Joe, let's bring you in on the conversation.
Okay.
What are your thoughts on these numbers? I mean, obviously we know that Sony has currently, I want to say it's around just under 2 million subscribers for PS Now, which at its price is $60 for the year. I've been very public about saying this. I don't have it. I only want it if they follow suit, which I think they eventually will. When, I can't predict, but it's not the PS Now that I want. The PS Now I want is to have their big first parties get in there, stay in there, and get first party day and date. I don't know if that's ever going to happen. I'd like it to happen. I think that after these particular numbers, Jim Ryan is going to be the businessman that we know he can be, and maybe change or transition maybe next year or the year after. But we'll see. But for you, seeing these numbers, what does this mean to Microsoft moving into the next generation and leading the charge with 10 million subscribers to Game Pass?
So I wanted to say this one silly comment, if I'm allowed.
By all means.
I love the 70% like growth in friendship rate, because I'm like, how did you analytically decide that? Like,
I love it.
Did Phil Spencer like write us all a note and it's like, do you like me? Yes or no?
Yes or no? Listen, you gotta love Phil for this kind of shenanigans. This is love. This is wonderful.
Real talk. I've been saying this oh my god, months, maybe even a year now. Game Pass is the Xbox platform. This is the future of Xbox right here. It's not in the Series anything. It's literally in Xbox Game Pass. They want you to be able to play this everywhere because, look, when it comes to growth in consoles, the console market is kind of stagnant. I think it only grew like a couple percent from this generation over the next. The one growth that continues to grow is the PC market. And most importantly, the market share leader is a mobile market. And when we're taking a look at what kids are playing right now, they're all playing on tablets. They're all playing.
Well, that's this generation. The current generation of gamers grew up with their parents' iPads and iPhones in their cribs.
Exactly. So like this is getting one step ahead of what they see the future of gaming is, which is, you can have this big premium thing, which is going to give you all the teraflops, it's going to give you all the ray tracing, whatever, or you could just play this wherever. And whoever, we don't care, go play this thing. So that's the real number. The 10 million is a big deal. I mean, I've seen people go, well, they're giving it away for $1. You could be pessimistic if you want. I tend to like to be optimistic. Yes. Are they giving away this thing for practically free? At times it certainly feels that way. But let them. Who cares? If I can upgrade for a year or 3 years without paying a dime, who's that hurting? No one's bottom line but Microsoft's. You're only gaining it. So for me, what I found Game Pass to be, first off, it is by and far the best for me service. Like, I like it more than Netflix. I like it more than Disney Plus, and it gives me The Mandalorian. This is amazing. I said it last night on the Trophy Room, and it's live today on YouTube.com.
Oh, by the way, I tweeted that out, and I watched it this morning. I think I was the first view.
Ooh, okay.
I gave you your first thumbs up, sir.
But yeah, like what I was saying there is I've came to the realization that my Switch is like digital only. My Xbox is solely just it's the Game Pass machine. And my PlayStation is the last bastion of my physical collection.
Yeah,
Like,
it's weird. I buy all my PlayStation 4 games as well. It's the strangest shit.
It is. And to me, I'm just like, Game Pass is just so convenient. I always go in to, and when we're talking about discoverability, I'm always going in to download one game. I think this is the first time I've ever done it with Streets of Rage, where I just downloaded one game. But I always go in and I download like 2 or 3 other things. I try to make sure that those are indie games, because I know that that's going to help them out, that they're going to get revenue from that. So for me, I love Game Pass. It is nothing but a positive. This is the Xbox platform, and it is inclusive. It is welcoming for everyone to come and play. And I think that's the biggest thing when we look at Xbox and their future. It is about, let's bring gamers together and being able to play wherever, however, and giving the possibility and the ability for people of all kinds to play games no matter what. And I'm speaking of the adaptive controller. That's Xbox to me. That's where they hang their hat on. And for anybody, and my last rant's over after this, saying that, well, all the Xbox has is Game Pass. Listen, if that's all they have, that's still getting away. My good friend Nathan Brandt over at the NES Pod, who's one of the most brilliant people I've met here doing this. He bought an Xbox for the first time, and within a week, he's just completely converted. First Xbox he's ever owned.
Wow.
Completely converted because of why? It's not Halo. It's not Fable. It's not any of it. It is Xbox Game Pass.
Wow. That's a big statement, dude. That's a big statement.
That is the power of Xbox going further into the future. And what PlayStation, no doubt, Jim Ryan's like, all right, guys, how do we copy this? But they're also, their games don't lend to the that pass method.
Yes,
they need to get around it. And how do they make? Because I don't own PS Now on purpose. It's again,
it's just not for you. It doesn't provide you the value that you get somewhere else. I totally
the same exact time. I'm totally willing to pay for The Last of Us.
You like me, we buy our games. We don't care.
Yeah, I don't care. Wherever I can get them, I get them. And for me, whatever is the most cheapest way, I don't care if it's physical or digital. So for me, the cheapest thing is paying $15 a month for a service that just provides me with God knows how much amount of content. It's awesome. I love it.
Real quick, before I get Zemi Games in the conversation, just got to catch up on some of these super chats. We're closing in on, we're at 450 people watching live. That is amazing. Folks, if you are enjoying the content, please hit the like button. It would be greatly appreciated. If you are new to the channel, which I've been finding that I've been getting a lot of messages from people that are new, which is awesome. Welcome. Everyone is welcome here, no matter, regardless of what flag you fly. Everyone's treated with respect. This is one of the nicest chats. And we do have an incredible a group of moderators led by, of course, the sheriff known as Lethal Papa, who he walks silently but carries a really big stick. So if you get out of line, he will put the band hammer. But for the most part, folks, you guys and gals are pretty awesome. But I do want to say this before I get to the super chats. Tuesday, remember on this Tuesday, I was having a bit of a conundrum that day. My wife was sick, very ill, throwing up uncontrollably, and I had announced that I'm not going to be doing Tuesday shows moving forward. I think that the stress of everything going on with the world and my wife being sick and the shows, it was a little much. Well, I am going to say this. I can't guarantee that I'm going to be able to produce 4 shows a week, because it is ridiculously unbelievable, especially when I have to maintain my household and still actually play games. But I am going to tell you that this Tuesday coming up, we are doing a special edition predictions show for the Xbox Factor podcast. It's going to be all about Xbox. It's going to be happening this Tuesday at noon. I'm going to be working, more than likely everyone that's here could potentially be here. I'm going to see if I can get some other Xbox guests, some big time guests to join us, to give us our predictions for what we're expecting on the Thursday show. But once again, let me just catch up with some of these super chats. Smitty Smith, once again, our brother bringing us to church, says this. It says, and this is his response to someone that tried to downplay the 10 million number, which I remember who it was. It says, it took you 4 years to graduate high school. What a loser. In reference to the 10 million subs on Game Pass. And yes, someone actually tried to use the Verizon free membership of Disney Plus, that they gave away 150 million year subs for if you were a Verizon owner and you wanted Disney Plus, you got it for free for a year, which I'm jealous because I have Sprint, so I missed out on that. I'm paying like everybody else, and they try to use that. Oh, look, they did that in X amount of months, but they gave it away for free, folks. If you're giving it away for free, most people will say, I'll take 3, right? So I'm sure that there were multiple subscriptions taken, and that's why Disney Plus has 158 million or whatever it is compared to Microsoft's 10 million. I'm sorry that I even had to say that.
Apples and oranges. What a dumb comment.
It is absolutely apples and oranges. The Dark Knight.
Big dumb. Sorry.
No, it's okay, Joe. It's perfectly okay. The Dark Knight drops an outstanding, very generous $5 super chat. Thank you for being here, my brother. He says, afternoon all. Next week can't come soon enough. Oh my God. Yes, I agree. Sir X-Man once again shows his outstanding generosity and drops an additional $5 super chat and says, since Microsoft and Sega are good friends, how awesome would it be for them to announce a new Crazy Taxi with multiplayer? Oh man, I'm all down for a new Crazy Taxi. And if you want to add me multiplayer in there, we are okay. A good friend of the show, Pixelbit G, drops a $2 super chat. Thank you for your generosity, my brother, and welcome to the show. He says most people are not aware Game Pass free, the Game Pass free deal. Yeah, a lot of people aren't. Philly Eagle, thank you for being here, my brother, all the way from the south side of Philadelphia. He drops a $2 super chat and says this. P.S. Slater or P. Slater, cause there are new games there, LOL. And he once again drops an additional $5 super chat and says this. Just joking, PS Now is hot garbage in comparison. However, not everyone plays games day one, so value is subjective. Great point. Lastly, 10 million is bigger than 2 million. Yes. And Joe Bailey, first of all, thank you so much for being here. He drops an outstanding $10 super chat and says, thanks, Boom, for the great shows, making my workday all that much better. Oh, dude, that's very kind of you to say. I love doing that. But let's get Zemi Games in. Zemi, listen, you and I, when we were running a 2-man show, talked about how important Xbox Game Pass was not only to Phil Spencer, not only to the Xbox platform, but to their future plans in the next generation. And you and I, specifically talked about the amount of monies coming in on this program would open up the potential for bigger third-party games from their 15 first-party studios, the potential to have money to come in at a lesser price with the Xbox Series X because they could make money on the back end of this service, or even the potential of purchasing other developers and or companies to become part of Microsoft's first party. Does this draw a line in the sand with everything that you and I have been talking about for what seems like almost a year?
I mean, Game Pass is just great. Talking about the 10 million subscribers, yeah, you can kind of, brush that to the side and say that doesn't matter, or, it's been 4 years or whatever you want to say, but it does matter. And the reason why it matters is because that's $50 million a month that Xbox is earning. That's calculating it with $5 per subscriber. Right.
And you're undercutting it because there's some dollars in there. And
I'm undercutting it because that's not calculating all the people that would be subscribed to it paying $10 a month. That's only talking about Xbox Game Pass Ultimate paying $5 a month for it. Right. So, yes. I mean, imagine what Xbox can do with that $50 million. Now, of course, they don't get all of that money. They have to pay out to the developers whose games are on there and other things as well, of course. But just imagine the amount of money that Xbox Game Pass is raking in that previously they were not able to capitalize on. Right? That money can go to getting more games for the service, can go to supporting their first party, to the development of their first party games so much. Right. So to say that 10 million subscribers doesn't matter is like saying $50 million every single month, May, June, July, $50 million coming in.
It doesn't mean
matter.
anything.
And if you're saying that, you're dumb. Like, there's just, you know what I mean? Like, to say $50 million for any company coming in every single month doesn't matter. I'm sorry, it does. But one amazing thing, and you were kind of talking about this before with that one game, Deliver Us the Moon, right?
Yes.
For instance, imagine this, right? Let's say that you've never played any game like that, and you go in, you play it, you give it a shot, you really like it. You're going to start hunting for other games similar to that, and then you might be paying $20 for The Station, and then another $20 for maybe I think the game's called Tacoma. And so, by having Game Pass, I mean, it just does so much on so many different levels, because now you're introducing gamers to other genres that they would have never played. And that's going to lead to them buying more games. So more money for Xbox, more people playing on the service. And then not even to add in, the whole community aspect of it, more people are playing, multiplayer games. One big major thing that Game Pass, that I think has helped Game Pass in that way as well, is, for instance, you don't have to go and spend $60 to get that new latest game so we can play it together. If you have Game Pass and I have Game Pass, it makes gaming together more inclusive, easier to have the games
absolutely
go in there and play, kind of like what Badbit and Insipid are talking about. Would Badbit have been as willing to go out and pay $20, $30, $40 for each of those Halo games? Maybe not, but fortunately he doesn't have to do that. And the more people play, the more they're going to buy, the more that they're going to have fun with their friends, and the more that they're going to just continue doing that. And it's just it's just a circle, like an evolving circle of players winning and Xbox winning. So I think it's excellent news that they just passed that $10 million or that 10 million subscriber threshold. And I mean, there's just so many different benefits that Game Pass offers, not just Xbox, not just the developers, but also the fans. I mean, it really, in my opinion, is the best service that has ever came to market. And it's definitely the best deal in gaming.
No, I mean, that is a great point, an absolutely fantastic point for that matter. Rounding out this topic, why don't we bring in Archimedes? Archimedes, again, you are an engineer, so numbers are important to you in many forms and fashions. When you hear 10 million people are subbed to Game Pass, and when you put it into a financial perspective, a lowball financial perspective like Semi Games did, we're saying that $50 million per month are coming in, and that's only at $5, and we know that it's more. So obviously the amount is going to be more, but he lowballed it because he factored in, paying the other developers and everything else that comes into the back end of keeping Game Pass. How impressed are you with what Microsoft has, or more importantly, Phil Spencer's dream for the future of the platform?
Oh, I'm really happy it turns out to be a success, because let's face it, Xbox Game Pass is the best value in gaming you can get right now.
Yes.
And when it launched, I was really surprised that they pulled that off in the gaming market, in the gaming space, such a subscription service. And now, almost 4 years later, it's a success. And I'm really happy that that's the case, because that means it stays around. Getting at the actual numbers, 10 million. It's impressive. It's
absolutely uncanny,
and it is insane what it does to the Xbox division, I think, because the most important thing for all these companies is a plannable a income that you can plan with. And this is what Game Pass delivers to you. If you make your money just out of game launches, you have always the factors. Will that game review well? Will it sell good? Is there something else coming out at the same time that will reduce the sales of our game? And you cannot really plan with regular sale or regular releases in games. But with Game Pass, you have a steady stream of income. And this is incredibly valuable for every company to have a certain amount of income that you can plan with. And the amount, I think it is way more than 50 million, to be honest. Because the Game Pass effect is probably the same like we all do in these fitness parlors. Yeah, we register, and then we have our membership.
That's
And
great.
even
I
if you
love
don't
it.
use it, you still have that. I have a friend of mine just like that. Yeah, he bought about 2 years ago the Xbox One S, and he purchased an Xbox Game Pass subscription with it, and then, well, he's a really casual gamer, but he just never cancel that membership. And I think a lot of people do that. And this is probably the effect that Microsoft is hoping for. And seeing that number, it means it is definitely a success for them. And that means that they can plan differently with their studios. Yeah, they can probably take more risks in the development because they know even if one of their studios produces a mediocre hit or something like that, yeah, they will still have that steady stream of income. It reduces you to have all the games out there to be a success. You don't have to do that anymore. You have a steady stream of income, and that lets you take a lot more risks with what you do during game development, and that is something that has me really excited. Another impressive number for me is the 90 million active users. And I know everybody's saying, oh, but that's only about 50 million on consoles. I don't think so. I think the numbers on consoles are way higher. But in the end, it doesn't matter. Microsoft doesn't care where you play your games as long as you play them in their ecosystem. And the Xbox is more than just the consoles right now. It's a complete ecosystem. It's PC, it's xCloud. It's so much more than just the console. And having 90 million active users monthly is a really impressive number. Yeah. So overall, I'm really looking forward to see the overall numbers of the Xbox division when they launch their next financial report.
Oh yeah,
it will be interesting to see.
Yeah, no. I mean, all great points from the entire panel. I want to move on to the next topic, though, and actually, it coincides with exactly what I love about Microsoft. When I hear Xbox, when I hear Microsoft, I think of community, right? I think of fun. I think of togetherness. I think of multiplayer. But before I get into the nitty gritty, I just have to thank two quick people. Robert Jones shows his generosity once again with an outstanding $12 super chat and says, "I hope they show Elden Ring from Software on the 7th." You know what, dude? I don't know if they would. I have heard that that's a possibility for the June event, which I believe now is going to be July, is what we're hearing. So that's a possibility. Philly Eagle shows his generosity once again. He says, "For the losers claiming $1 for Game Pass is a bad thing, even if it were $1, that's 200 quality games for $1. You just be mad or don't have it." You know what? I can't argue with that. I mean, if you are downplaying you jumping into Game Pass for $1, somehow disvaluing you as a human being, my God, I don't know what to tell you. But let's move on to the next topic. Let me just make sure I write these timestamps down, because I do get scolded for not being on point. So I want to make sure that I take care of that. I don't want to be yelled at on my own show. Look, there are a lot of things or a lot of reasons to love or hate a particular company. And without taking any shots right now, a huge issue within the community is how the community as a whole, and I'm not talking about one side versus the other, I'm saying the entire gaming community is currently at odds with both PlayStation, but more specifically Naughty Dog, over the unprecedented leak that we talked about to open up the show, and what we're going to go into real specific detail on tomorrow's Breakfast with Boom. Well, Phil Spencer recently was interviewed, and the subject matter was not only interesting, but extremely relevant to current situations. Xbox's Phil Spencer discussed not exploiting the global pandemic and assures that Microsoft's business tactics have not changed as a big flood of people come to Xbox for the first time. Now, this interview came from businessinsider.com. And they're quoted in saying Phil Spencer acknowledged that Xbox, like so many games companies or firms, as they put it, have seen certain benefits from the majority of people spending more time at home. But it was also careful not to take advantage of the current situation. And this is what Phil had to say. And I want to get everyone's opinion on this because I think that where he is taking the Xbox goes beyond power and teraflops and SSDs. Listen to what he had to say, folks. We wanted to be very thoughtful and not exploiting the situation. We are not putting in place any different business tactics or things. We are just trying to keep all the services up and running, trying to keep the games enjoyable, keeping our network safe and secure, and being there at a time of need. I'm proud that we can provide this activity for people. We wouldn't wish this is the way to get here. We've talked internally at Microsoft about this. It's about how do you feel that gaming is doing well at a time when the world is hurting. Now, look, I'm going to say this. You can go and you can bang your drum about how, Phil is too much of a nice guy, or that he shows his human side too much and he doesn't go for the juggler. And Microsoft is a bunch of latte sipping, Seattle, skateboard, coffee drinking folk. I can tell you that this interview not only made me love him more as a leader of a company, but respect him as a human being. And I think that is what is forgotten about in gaming. We all talk about console wars and flag flyings and my box is bigger than yours and I have a better controller. But it's those words right there that make me proud to not only represent the Xbox brand and my own program, my own weekly show, but to be the guy that comes out and politely and gladfully says that Xbox is my console of choice first and foremost. I'm not ashamed to say it. I want to bring Zemi Games back into the conversation. Zemi,
Yep.
These words are unbelievable. This interview was fantastic, and once again, Phil Spencer proving that human beings are more important than the dots and lines and dollar bills. What are your thoughts on what he had to say about this pandemic that the world is currently hurting with?
Well, I mean, I would like to think that it's that is the statement that every single baddie would be leading with, and I really like to think that is, but I'm not so sure about it. But once again, this just kind of shows Phil Spencer's transparency, his humility almost, and I think that, he's spot on. A lot of people are hurting right now. A lot of people are playing more games because they are hurting. I mean, that's always been an outlet for millions of gamers out there, right?
Yes.
You go to work, you have a bad day, your boss is yelling at you, you come home and you just want to escape and, in the world of Skyrim or whatever it may be. And that's your outlet to just escape for the world for the next 3 hours. And now since everyone's stuck at home, they can't go to work. They're probably worried about their financials and everything like that. Gaming, is relatively cheap. They might have even already had the Xbox, the PlayStation, whatever it may have been. And they're just using that as an outlet to stay busy, to have fun, to enjoy. And I think it is also definitely important for Xbox to steer, the conversation, away from, we're taking advantage of people, because ultimately they're not. And I don't even know if people are saying that. But ultimately they're not. But I think it's important to remind people that Xbox is a big corporation. They're about making money, but at the end of the day, they actually genuinely care for their consumers, and they want to make sure that no misgivings are being taken by their company, that they're trying to profit off of this or take advantage in any way.
No, I mean that's a great point. And you know what? I haven't heard anyone saying specifically that Microsoft is somehow gouging
Yeah.
the community at a time. I just think that this interview was a good way to remember that at the end of the day, people matter first.
Mhm.
And I think he made that blatantly clear. And I love that about this. You know what? Let me go to Archimedes on this one. Archimedes, when you hear Phil Spencer, the head of Xbox, the guy that sits on the right hand of course, the Satya Nadella of Microsoft, and he comes out with a statement explaining that the human factor is not going to be lost in the fact that they're making a lot of money right now because people are stuck at home. How does that make you feel as an Xbox gamer, but more importantly as a human being?
Well, it just shows me the kind of leader Phil is, what Phil is, and what he represents. He's really all in for the gamers. We have seen it with all his moves, and just coming out saying that that they first care for their people, for their employees, for the gamers, that they are not trying to exploit anything. This is just what I want to hear, because this is what feels me good about the platform I'm playing on. Yeah, and I play on all the platforms. I'm not saying I'm not feeling good on the other platforms. Yeah, but the same with you. Yeah, Xbox is my most played console. It's where I play all my multiplats, and hearing that is just what I want to hear, because it shows, okay, Xbox is thinking in the right direction. And it is really surprising to me how much or how many people really started to play video games during these times. I don't know about the US, but here in Germany, basically everywhere consoles are sold out, and not just the Xbox. I mean, everything. Yeah?
No, that's here too. You can't find a PlayStation 4. I mean, you can in some places, but I put it this way: you cannot find a console almost on anything online. You might be able to run to a store that's open and be lucky to find one, but it's selling out like hotcakes.
Definitely. And I mean, gaming is such a great form of entertainment. Yeah. I mean, I don't think that with any other form of entertainment you can buy, whether it be movies or TV stuff or music, that you get so much entertainment for your buck. It's in the end, yeah, if you buy a game like, I don't know, The Witcher or something, yeah, you get hundreds of hours of entertainment.
300-hour game.
Yeah, for just a few bucks. And seeing that Microsoft does not want to take advantage of that, but to make sure that all the people who try to spend their time right now with video games, that these services run great, is just exactly what I wanted to hear.
Yeah, putting the services in front and saying, listen, we just want to make sure that everything is working so you guys and gals, you gamers, can enjoy it. I think that's big. I love the human element behind this story. Mr. Badbit, let's bring you into conversation, because obviously, you as a gamer, and I love to keep hearkening back to that, because when I think about the way you handle yourself and represent not only your own personal brand, but the way that you carry yourself is admirable on many levels. And I love what you're doing. And having you a part of this show has been one of the greatest highlights for me personally, because I love that. Like myself, there are other people that understand that it's not about the plastic box, that there's so much more, a human element to gaming. And we're hearing Phil Spencer get out in front and say, listen, we just want people to understand, even though no one's talking about it, we're not going to change our business tactics to try and make more money and exploit a very horrible situation. And we wish, for the love of Joe, that we didn't get here. What are your thoughts on Phil Spencer's comments, dude?
Okay, so I'm very much the other side of the fence. So we have this weird thing in video games, and I get it, because like we have to put faces and personalities behind these companies, and like whether that is a Shuhei Yoshida for PlayStation, whether that's Miyamoto for Nintendo, or Microsoft's case, Phil Spencer, these are figureheads that we look up to, because they are what we could put a face to that logo. So when Phil Spencer's like, oh yeah, we're trying to be different, we're trying to, we're not going to try to weasel you, we're not going to, I don't know, jump the prices of Game Pass, whatnot. That just reads, for me, it's just a PR message of like, hey, just let you know, we're here. We're not trying to be a D-bag to you. Okay, see ya. It's just kind of them trying to cover a base that doesn't necessarily need to be covered, but they're just doing it to make sure that you know that they're aware of the situation and how they're there to help you. At the same time, like they're like, oh, we want to make sure that everybody is safe and this, that, and the other thing. If that was truly true, which it's not, then he would make sure that all those factory workers in Foxconn have, a healthy living environment. They are able to eat 3 times a day, get paid livable wages, but they all don't. And that's the sad reality of things, and as I view my MacBook, that's the same over there. Apple would like to tell you that everything's fine and dandy and that they're not going to take advantage of this situation, but they'll take advantage of other situations for sure, ones that we're uncomfortable talking about. And that's just the realism here is at the end of the day, I view Phil Spencer as, I like what he's doing. I think he's truly a visionary, but it's how I view every corporation. He's not
I mean, listen, I can't argue your opinion. Again, your opinion is extremely skewed from mine, and I think that's fantastic, to be honest with you, because obviously we don't want everyone to agree here. I just think that the him coming out and saying this in a time where other companies, other bigger companies may be exploiting this particular situation. Now, your opinion on what goes on the back end of making these consoles, I understand. I see you're frustrated with that.
It's just like, that's like my whole thing is that it's just a blunt reality. It's something, you could see the good or the bad. What it is at the end of the day is this big shade of gray area that we surround ourselves in, that we will be, we try to tread as light as possible in that gray area, but we all have to live in it because that's just the reality of said situations. So like for me, again, like it's kind of like with what GameStop did. They tried completely to take advantage, and maybe that's why.
They did, for sure.
And Microsoft maybe going, hey, listen, we won't stay inside, you idiots, and like your haircut's not important. So like to me, that's what it reads. To me, it's just a PR comment. That's something I would write up for sure. That's something I have.
I mean, listen, I understand. I understand your stance on it. Makes a lot of sense. I'm glad that you were, you broke it down. But Luke, I see that you were not only in the chat, our personal chat, but I got to get your opinion. I know you're chomping at the bit to jump in here. When you hear Phil Spencer get out there and say, listen, folks, we're here for you. We're going to make sure the services are up and running. We're not going to change our business stand. People come first. Staying home, stay safe, help your first responders. All of that kind of rolls into what he says. Are you impressed, or do you have a skewed view like Joe here?
Well, I first of all, I really much think that he is saying the right things. So I am impressed. But it is a PR move. Like, we'd be silly to think otherwise. Because,
right, of course.
As all major companies are, we're customers, we're consumers, they're businesses, they provide a service, and we pay for it. He is saying the right things. And when we're looking at an industry right now that is so quick to cast judgment on a studio for crunching and yet buying their games, or for selling loot boxes and then we buy their games and they still make money. We need to keep in mind there's a bit of a hypocritical approach with our dollars here. But Spencer's a genuine guy. There's no doubt about that. He's far more genuine than anyone else we've seen in the Xbox camp at that level for over a decade. And I think Joe pointed out that we do this with companies, Reggie, Iwata, Shuhei. We do this with companies and I identify them as a person, and they don't care about me as a person per se. They're not worried about Luke Lore's emotional feeling at all times. However, Microsoft has made a sincere effort to be inclusive in LGBTQ communities.
Yes.
They've made an effort to be inclusive in the physically disabled or enabled people via the adaptive controller, via their avatars, by putting in things like wheelchairs for their avatar members. So I don't think Joe is at all skewed in his approach. He's just taking a step back and recognizing that businesses want money, and there's a right way to go about getting that money and a good way to go about getting more money, and that's by bringing in more customers. So I'm impressed. I also recognize that there's an element of business to it, but I'm okay with that, because when there's an element to business in Marvel and Disney and all that, I still go see Avengers, and I still love seeing my emotional stories from Star Wars. And so I I don't think he's skewed per se, but I'm not. It's not that it's not even a cynical
Fight
approach.
me, Luke.
There's more to it. I'll fight you in the street. But
Well, that's again, that's the gray area I talk about, right? Like there's been a debate for decades of like, is Walmart a good or evil company type of deal? And like there are people that are like, Walmart's the worst, and they have all these bullet point reasons, and they're right. And then you have people like, no, Walmart's actually does a lot of good, and they have their bullet point reasons, and that is also correct. We live in these like the shade of gray reality where like, look, I'll watch a Star
hopefully
Wars.
it's not the 50 Shades of Gray.
Ooh. Like,
Risque.
we can't exist in a world of one or the other, and we like to because we think PlayStation versus Xbox, Nintendo versus Sony. We don't. That's just not how it works.
Exactly, and that's where I come at it. It's just like, yeah, he's talking PR. I get it. Like, I bet Phil Spencer, he's not like, he's waking up out of bed. He's like, let me say something that makes me look good, and then I'll stab you in the back later. I think he's probably a genuinely good at heart guy, but he's also a business guy.
God.
So, like, for me, I'm thinking in the broader feel the burn view here, where it's just like, he's a corporation. He doesn't really care.
Yeah,
that's always my thing.
I would sit down for a beer with that gentleman. I'd have a coffee with him.
Yeah.
I would definitely have a coffee with Phil Spencer. No doubt about that.
I've shaken his hand before, and he was the nicest man on earth. I have a signed skateboard on my wall right now from him, and I really like him. And I think it's okay to feel all those things about people in companies and still recognize business, objective or subjective, because you're right. He's not waking up thinking that. He genuinely seems to want to do well for that company. Otherwise, we'd have another Don Matrick situation.
Oh God, don't do that. Yeah, no, absolutely. Look, I'm gonna say this. Again, regardless of what your personal view is on the actual subject matter, I love the fact that everyone comes on this show, feels comfortable enough to say their piece and stick with it. And Joe, I respect you even more now that you went out there and you attacked this from a different perspective. I didn't even see coming, to be honest with you, and I appreciate that. No, honestly, I think that the way that you came at it was smart.
And if you asked me about the same thing with Jim Ryan, I'd be like, yeah, even more so. That guy wakes up, he's just like, how can I make money?
Yeah, he's eating corporations for breakfast. There's no doubt about it. Good old dancing Jim Ryan, as they call him nowadays. But you know what? Let's move on to one of the bigger topics. And before I do, I just want to catch up with a few super chats. Spider-Man actually drops an outstanding and additional $5 super chat and says this: IGN states that next week event, the May 7th Microsoft event, will only show third-party games for the Series X, and first-party will be the show later this summer. Cool. And I think that's big, because if they're going to just dedicate the next show, the big E3 show that was supposed to happen, to Xbox only, you can only imagine what is going to be coming for that. Which is going to be and real quick, Michelle Alexandria drops an outstanding and very generous $3 super chat. Thank you so much for being here, Michelle. Definitely appreciate that very much. And let me just make sure I'm all caught up. I know there was one more. And Sikio Yumi drops a $2 super chat. Thank you for your generosity and of course for being here. They say playing Moving Out with my 6-year-old daughter. Love Game Pass. Yeah, Moving Out. I downloaded it this morning. It looks like a lot of fun, but Streets of Rage is going to take most of my time. But let's move on to the next topic of today's show, and this is a big one, folks. If we didn't already know a ton, I would even dare say a shit ton of Xbox Series X information, we have more confirmation from head of Xbox Phil Spencer that the Xbox Series X, listen to this, folks, the CPU, DLI, SSD will mark the biggest generational leap since 2D to 3D. Do you understand that statement? He's quoting and saying that the Series X is going to be the biggest generational leap in gaming since 2D sprites to playing Mario 64 on the N64. See if your brain can actually put that in together in an understandable sentence. Now, if there's one thing that is blatantly clear, with the direction that Phil Spencer has set forth for the Xbox platform moving into the next generation, it's being 100% forthcoming, transparent, and very open to everything that is being done to make the Xbox Series X the best console ever to be delivered to the gaming community. And in an article that I pulled from WCCF Tech, Phil Spencer added to the already daunting amount of Xbox Series X information that already has been available when he was responding to a Twitter question, something that he does on a regular basis, unlike many of the other executives for both PlayStation and Nintendo, respectively. And here is the guy, the gentleman that asked the question. His name is on Twitter, Diagnosed Willie. And he says, "Hi, Xbox P3. With the imminent arrival of the Xbox Series X, what technologies do you think allow this spectacular advance? We have been hearing about ray tracing for a few months and recently about photogrammetry. Would this be a new course? Thank you for your answer, Phil." And here is Phil Spencer's response. "Ray tracing on console will be great. I'm very focused on the work we are doing around dynamic latency input (DLI), and in my view, the feel of games this upcoming generation will change as dramatically as any change since 2D to 3D, giving the CPU upgrade, DLI, memory bandwidth, and SSD technologies." Now, I'm going to say this: the transparency and openness that continues to lead the charge with the Microsoft Xbox Series X is unprecedented. And thanks to Rebellion development, Kevin Floyer-Lee, who was talking about the Xbox Series X SSD and how it will also help developers improve character AI and animations, had this direct quote to say: "The SSD storage speed then lets us take those beautiful realistic environments and make them load in a flash. And we're talking about bigger environments than the ones we could create now on the Xbox One X. Finding new things to stream is an important part of this generation, and the animation streaming is a game changer for motion capture. Now we can support detailed motion capture on a much wider scale, like non-player characters simply doing their thing in the background instead of all enemy NPCs moving in an identical way. For example, the SSD storage speed means we can offer many unique motion captured animations." Okay, so now, as we heard, we again, this may be news to some people. This may be like, well, boom, I kind of heard this already. Well, I thought it was interesting that Phil Spencer just the other day got out and did another interview, and more importantly, is answering people on Twitter when asked about the Series X. I want to go to Zemi. Zemi, when you hear this, when you hear that the Series X, the more I personally hear, the more that I am currently cannot wait until November. I cannot wait to get this box. I'm hoping that Microsoft, in their heart of hearts, sends me one to review. And if anyone's listening from Microsoft, and I know that you guys and gals are, I'm all ready to review this the same way I did Gears 5, that review, complete justice. So what are your thoughts on the talk of the SSD, but more importantly, what Phil Spencer had to say of this being the biggest generational leap from 2D to 3D? Is that a statement that really kind of puts a stake in the sand?
You know, I could be mistaken, but I think I've said something similar to that. I don't even know if I said it on the show or if I just said it like in conversation with just, with some of my buddies.
Take credit.
Yeah, I'm gonna take credit. Yeah. Phil heard that from me, guys. Just letting everybody know this. No, I really do. I think it is a huge leap. And I know I've said this. It's definitely going to be the closest to PC gaming we've ever been to, like, with consoles. I know I've said that on the show. But yeah, I mean, I just kind of want to touch on this too, is how I love Phil, right? And I know he's sitting there like, oh man, talking great about Phil again.
Go for it. Okay.
But just how transparent he is and how willing he is to jump into the trenches and interact with people on Twitter. You know what I mean? I mean, he didn't have to do that, right? We don't typically see, CEOs of major corporations going out of their way and responding to people's tweets, at the same level that we see Phil doing it, right? So I just think that that's amazing in of itself. And a lot of what he talked about, we've kind of, already heard. I definitely have. I actually, reading that tweet was the very first time I ever heard about how the SSD would be, could be used to like have different animations for different characters at different, at the same time in the game. And I think that just sounds really, really cool because we've all played those first person shooters where we see like the same, like each of the guys kind of look different, but they're all walking the same way and doing the same way, thing, looking, whatever. Right. And so I think that is going to be really impressive whenever we get to see that in game, having, those different NPCs during, Call of Duty or during Halo or whatever it may be, all having different animations going at the same time, and that being possible better now with the SSD. That has me really, really excited. Honestly, I'm actually really extremely excited for the latency, how they're going to be, reducing latency on the controllers and with the system and everything. I think that that's huge because I've been playing over on PC for a while now, and there's still latency on the PC. But whenever I come back to my Xbox, I just, I notice it. I notice it just a little bit more. And it kind of bothers me. So I'm really, really excited for the latency. But all in all, I really like how Phil goes out and he talks to, people in the community. He replies to people on Twitter and just overall the whole ideology of Xbox being extremely transparent, constantly talking, explaining things, down whenever people have questions. I really admire that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, absolutely great. Real quick, just to give you guys a heads up, Luke, obviously known as Insipid Ghost, had to step away. He had some personal business to attend to, so I just want to say that it's great to have Luke a part of today's show. And please, definitely, again, if you like the way Luke is handling himself, I got to tell you, his podcast is as good, potentially better. I think that what he does on the Xbox expansion pass is worthy of your ears. Don't throw them at him. Don't throw your ears at him. But seriously, get over there. All the places you can find podcasts, Spotify, I believe there's a few others. Go check out the Xbox expansion pass, and more importantly, follow him on Twitter because the link is right there, and he does do some real work. And he just interviewed Mike Biffle, and that's a big get, man. And everyone is getting in line to get on his show because of the way he handles it. So if you enjoy his voice and what he has to say on this show, definitely get out and check out his Xbox expansion pass that he does a weekly show on. But okay, that first of all, Zemi, that was fantastic. I mean, I could not have put it any better. Mr. Bedbit, let's bring in the villain of today's show, according to some in the chat. No, all jokes aside, again, I have to applaud you. I love your angle, and I love the honesty of it. And you know what? At the end of the day, you make people think a little outside the box, and I think that's smart. But this is talking about gaming. This particular interview, well, not so much interview, him responding to a fan, which is again unheard of by any other CEOs, to say, yeah, listen, we're doing all these things, and to make that statement. To make that particular statement on a tweet that he has not said in an interview, and he's done hundreds of them. He's saying that the Xbox Series X is going to be the biggest leap in generations since 2D to 3D. That is a statement of statements. What are your thoughts on that? Does that get you excited to buy this box?
Here's the thing that gets me really excited. Every time these companies talk about the SSD, there's a part of me deep down inside, everybody, close your eyes. You know that Assassin's Creed Valhalla trailer? Part of me thinks that's CGI. That's not really CGI. I would love that to be what we're playing, right? Yes. Oh my God, it would look beautiful. But here's the thing, right? There has to be like a dropping off point where graphics maybe get to look too real, and I'm not about that future. Like, I'm not about to play Westworld the game. So to me, I think there's going to be there has to be a falling off point where games can only look so beautiful, what I really do want to see is the systems in place, which Zemi, you were talking about a little bit there. I would love, there are still portions of a game where you look at it. Final Fantasy is a great example of like, oh, yep, this is a game where it kind of breaks that immersion moment where you're running past the same, 5 NPCs doing the same 5 motions over and over again.
Yes.
Those type of things. That's where I think he's saying the leap is going to be because of that SSD and how that changes the game and frees up developers to create and craft the worlds they truly want to make. And then there's new problems to solve, like how you guide a player from one portion to the map to the next, right? So that's the thing that gets me really excited is how does that, we all like to make fun of it because it's on the PlayStation thing of like the SSD is the secret sauce or whatever. But like that, when developers are like, yeah, like that SSD is impressive and it does free up things. I'm like, okay, cool. So does that mean we get smarter AI? Does that mean we get AI that's learning to what I'm doing and adapts to it so that it freshens up the gameplay? Like those are things to consider, right? Like teraflops to me only go so far. I want to see something like on the AI level that gets changed and on the animation front as well.
Yeah,
there's a cool thing with Halo Wars that I keep on finding when I'm playing is that there are so many lines of dialogue between the soldiers where like it'll just randomly happen where he's just like, yeah, I think I'm gonna get my pilot's license today. I'm tired of like running around all the time. Like, what?
I love it. That's great.
Like you'll hear the grunts talking smack to each other, and it's just like that's what I want more from games. Like I played Witcher 3 on the Xbox One X, and like in all honesty, it just gave me more brushes and like a sleeker color palette. What I love for the power of these consoles to then now do, because games look pretty enough, maybe, smooth out some textures, less pop in, and I'm fine. Give me something on that AI level. That's what I'm really hoping to see. That's what I think I'm going to see from both this generation.
Yeah, I agree. You know what? Once we get this, again, we can speculate all we want. I cannot wait to get to a day where we're actually seeing the games running, and we know we're going to see it on May 7th, the third-party games. I still think that Microsoft is going to throw a zinger in there. I think they have to. I think.
Do you think we might see chickens?
We might see. That's what we've been hearing, man. We've been hearing that I don't have a lot of sources, but I have one, and one seems to think that chickens are coming. So, if in fact that does happen, that's going to be fantastic for the fan base because it's what we want to see. But let's bring Archimedes in. Archimedes, you are an engineer, and you obviously is someone who understands a lot of the back ends of what's going on with this console. When you hear Phil Spencer actually say the words, our console is going to be the biggest leap the biggest generational leap in gaming since 2D to 3D, and you've been gaming for a while, so you understand what that meant. What does that say to you, and where does your excitement level go now after already knowing what you know about the Series X, but now hearing this?
Well, there are multiple layers to it. First, I absolutely agree with him. I think I said it on this show that that it is that we haven't had this jump in a long time during the change of console generations, and because considering the power that is now in the Series X and the PS5 here. If you correlate that to the PC market, you are really in the highest of the high-end PC market right now.
Yes, great point.
The SSDs in these systems are not even available on the market yet. At least the PS5 one, the GPU RDNA 2 architecture isn't available on the market yet, on the PC market yet. So we are talking about really high-end PCs that we will have for $400-500 now in our living room this year, and this is insane. And the second thing that really stood out to me when I read that tweet from Phil is he mentioned the SSD, he mentioned the CPU, dynamic latency input. He talks about the velocity architecture. He doesn't mention the GPU. And so his jump, the definition for the next generation is not the graphical fidelity.
Yeah.
Of course, it will improve, no doubt there. Yeah, we will see ray tracing in consoles, which is insane. Yeah, it will bring us graphical fidelity, but the leap in generations is not defined by the graphic powers. And I agree with Bad Bit here. The potential we have there with AI, with physics simulation. I just want to see proper physics simulation, animations. And with the SSDs, it's the world design. The gaming worlds can now completely be designed in a different way. This is what will define the new generation. The words that Phil put it in, it's how the games will feel. It'll be frame rates. It'll be how responsive the characters are in the games and stuff like that. And this will define the new generation. And this is something I'm really excited about. And another thing popped in my mind. Him not talking about the GPU in that respect. I think this is the first hint for what they will focus the messaging in the Lockhart when they reveal it. Because the Lockhart system, from all the leaks we know, will have a 4 teraflop GPU. Okay, less teraflops in the GPU, but in the end, all the things that will define the next generation will also be in the Lockhart. It will have a Zen 2 CPU. It will have this powerful CPU. It will have that SSD, probably a smaller one, 500 gigs or something like that, yeah? But it will have these generation-defining ingredients, and it will basically be distinguished by its graphical fidelity, yeah? But the definition for our new generation is all these other things: frame rates, AI, physics simulations, world design, stuff like that. And this is something I'm really, really excited about.
Yeah, there is a lot to be excited about. Not just the Xbox, but the next generation as a whole. Is with the PlayStation 5. Both consoles are going to be incredible. They're going to be a huge leap over what we currently have. And again, if you are a part of the PC master race and that's your bag, good on you, man. I'm not a hater. I'm a congratulator. And PC gaming is just not my thing. Even if I had the money to build a rig, it just would not interest me in the least. I'm more of a console guy. I always have been. Sitting in front of my 65-inch HDR rich TV with all the bells and whistles is what I want out of gaming, and that's what I choose. But if you choose otherwise, hey, that's good on you. But I'm going to say this: this has been another incredible show. We're almost at 660 people live in the chat, which is, again, record breaking. You know, the numbers continue to grow up, and I just put it in the message to the chat. If you're new, I want to say thank you for taking the time to check out this program. If it's something that you are into, or maybe you are someone that enjoys PlayStation and Nintendo equally, I do have multi-plat shows. One of which is going to be tomorrow morning, Breakfast at Boom. The guest list is packed. We of course have Mr. Badbit. We have BitCloud Gaming. We also have Crispy Bomb, and making his return appearance is the King. Yes, that King from the Iron Lords podcast. King David will be a part of tomorrow's program. And we are going to open up the show with some controversy. We're going to be discussing what happens to Naughty Dog next, along with the Assassin's Creed Valhalla trailer. And I think we're going to be talking about a little bit of, Joe, you're going to happy to know this, Horizon Zero Dawn trilogy potentially happening. I got that story lined up, as well as, if we can get into it, Quantum Era for the PlayStation 5, which is going to be an exclusive, and it is an exclusive for now. And I've been reading about that, and I saw the video, and it looks really, really promising. Real quick, before we get on out of here, JD Gamer, hey dude, thank you so much for being here. He drops a $10 super chat and says this: worked last night, just waking up super late, but wants to make sure I showed my support. Hit that like button, folks. Well, thank you for being here, dude. I really and truly appreciate it. But let's make sure I got everybody here. Oh yeah, okay, yeah. Oh no. Pixelbit G drops a $5 super chat. Oh my god, I would have been so upset with myself if I missed this. He says, a taste of next of next HUDless design is already available in Sea of Thieves with its map system. MS is also pushing machine learning, which should allow for AI to adapt. Yeah, this is listen, folks, I just want to say this. Enjoy your gaming now, because Skynet is coming. That's all I'm going to say about it before we get on out of here. But let's start with the outros. Of course, Zemi Games, you, my friend, are chef in the making. You're young enough to possibly turn this podcasting thing around and maybe have a YouTube channel based on cooking, because quite frankly, you do it well. But more importantly, you do have an incredible YouTube channel. You do a lot of how-to videos, and of course you have become more active on social media. So of course I have to pat you on your ass and say, good job, kid. Thanks so much for being here as always. Where could people find you on social media, but more importantly, check out your outstanding YouTube channel?
Yeah, absolutely. I actually thought about making a cooking YouTube channel.
You should, man. I'm telling you.
And I'll tell you what else. I don't have the time either, man. But I would love to do that. Maybe before I die. I'm young. But yeah, absolutely. Definitely go check me out on YouTube. It's my channel is called Zimmy Games. I do a bunch of gaming related content, game reviews, gaming news, unboxings, some Let's Plays here and there, just all sorts of gaming content. So if that's your type of thing, definitely check me out. Once again, it's called Zimmy Games. You guys can also follow me on Twitter at Zimmy Games. I upload a lot of pictures of food. Because I've been cooking a lot.
And you're making me salivate just thinking about it, because the last one, the fajitas one, was fantastic.
They were tasty, man. Let me tell you.
I'm always getting hungry when I see you in the timeline.
I know. I saw that tweet. It was great. Yeah. And then my DMs are always open as well. So if you guys heard something on today's show that I said that maybe was smart and you guys liked, or maybe I said something dumb and you guys absolutely hated it, make sure to send me a message. Let me know. I love interacting with the community, talking back and forth. Hearing other opinions. I think that's how we grow as people. And I just absolutely love doing that. So make sure to follow me on Twitter if you want to as well. Once again, it's at Zimmy Games. Boom. Thank you so much, man.
Oh, it was, again, great to have you on, dude. Look forward to you being on other episodes of the Xbox Factor podcast, because you are one of the cogs that make it go.
And I think you have 2 more super chats.
Yes, 2 more that came in. Punk Edition, good friend of the show. Thank you so much for being here, dude. He says this. He drops an outstanding and very generous $5 super chat and says, can't be active in the chat all the time, but here's a little something. Love your takes, Boom. Well, thank you, dude, for your generosity. And Gamer by Choice drops an outstanding and very generous $5 super chat and says, great show, guys. Well, thank you, Gamer by Choice, for being here. And again, I just want to apologize if I didn't get a chance to single you out. And I love saying hello to everyone individually. Today's show was a little rapid fire, so I just wanted to say, that's why I said I tweeted. I kind of just dropped into the messages, my thanks for everyone being here. The generosity, of course, through the super chats is just nothing short of unbelievably hard to accept. I just want you to know that they really do help me out more than you know, and it is truly and greatly appreciated. But let's continue, of course, with the outros. Mr. Bed, but you, my friend, you dropped a new episode of the Trophy Room, which I gave you your first thumbs up. And I'm proud to say that I did it. Listen to it. It was very good. The gentleman in the middle, who was that Xbox representative?
That's my arch enemy now, my arch frenemy. That's Mr. Sean Capri. You can find his podcast, all about Xbox, while he's talking in his car.
Is that the artist that's known as that does all the work for Dealer?
No. That's the wrong Capri.
Okay.
Yeah. No. This Sean, he runs a Xbox podcast while he drives home from work called the Xbox Drive, which is
sounds dope.
It's fan-freaking-tastic. I love it so very much. And yeah, he dropped on by. We talked about on the Trophy Room on Bad Bit Games, and on iTunes, wherever you find your RSS feed, your podcast
some
services.
Xbox stuff there. There was some Xbox conversation on that Trophy Room, my brother.
Dude, we do it all the time, man. It's always my mission is always to get different voices, not just my own, and we having these really deep dives. And Sean offered a very different view about the Naughty Dog leaks than I've heard.
I'm halfway through the episode. It was fantastic.
Thank you. That really does mean a lot. So that episode, a lot of fun every time every week. It's just always a blast. So again, the trophy room, that's on Bad Bit Games, my YouTube channel, where my first video coming back will actually be a prediction show about the
nice.
Series X reveal, which
Nice,
is so
dude.
weird that lined up so well for me. So yeah, subscribe to that, Bad Bit Games on YouTube, Trophy Room on iTunes, Google Play, wherever you get your RSS feed, and also on YouTube. And you can follow me, Mr. Badbit, MR Badbit, on Twitter as well. I
Nice.
sometimes post stuff that's funny. Just
Yeah, you
sometimes.
actually do them. You know what? You have become a fan favorite of this program, and I'm glad to have you a part of it. And I'm glad that we're going to get you. We're going to get you. But I think that we're going to push you to 5,000 subs this year, and I'd love to see you hit that goal. And I hope that I can help you attain it.
Well,
and
thank you, man. And real talk, I appreciate it. I appreciate everybody. I've gotten literally nothing but fantastic comments and DMs from everybody since doing the show with you. And
I'm glad, dude. I'm glad.
Seriously, everybody. It means so much to me. Again, because at the end of the day, we are all gamers, and that's why I'm on the show. That's why we agreed to stay on, is because, you know, Boom, you get it, Zemi, you get it, Archimedes, you get it. We're all gamers first, and that's always the thing that I always want to push on people, is that I don't care how you game, where you game. I just want to talk about games, you know?
Yeah, no, and you do it well. You do absolutely do it well. And last but not least, making his again, I think this might be his 5th, 6th, maybe even 7th appearance on the Double Barrel Gaming Network, Archimedes, all the way from Germany. Thanks so much for taking the time to hang out with us. Love your opinions, love your knowledge, especially when you start talking tech from your engineer point of view. And of course, gotta give you a shout out on the Final Fantasy VII remake video review that you just did. Fantastic work. Where can people check out your incredible YouTube channel, but more importantly, follow you on social media?
Yeah, first, let me thank you for having me on the show again. I've had a blast today. It's been a real fantastic day for video games, just in general. The chat was on fire. Thank you all for coming here and talking with us games. I think this is also a very big part of these shows, all the people discussing gaming in chat. And as Mr. Badbit said, we are all gamers. We just love the hobby, video games. It's the best hobby you could have, and that's why we're here. And thanks for the shout out for my Final Fantasy review. You can check that out at my YouTube channel at Boxenberger, and you can also find me at the same on Twitter. I'm always discussing the latest in gaming and gaming in general. I share a lot of impressions from the games I'm playing, so if you want to follow me there, just hit me up and let's talk games.
Well, again, great to have you a part of today's program, and I just want to again wish everyone well. Of course, love and hugs and kisses from both Mr. and Mrs. Boomstick. That's right, we do care about people at the end of the day. I hope you all stay well. I want to thank everybody for coming out here. I want to thank my panel for spending over 2 hours talking about Xbox. And just give you guys and gals the heads up. We will be doing a special edition prediction show this upcoming Tuesday that, of course, is going to follow in line with the Xbox Factor podcast lore. And we're going to, I don't know how long the show is going to go. It's probably going to go about 90 minutes, but we're going to give our take on what we're expecting from the May 7th confirmed show. And of course, if you're interested to hear more about our thoughts and theories regarding Naughty Dog and Horizon Zero Dawn and the newly announced Assassin's Creed Valhalla, tune in tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for the new hot and tasty episode of Breakfast with Boom. Bring your pancakes, bring your bacon, egg, and cheese sandwich, and your large cup of coffee, and get ready for 2 hours of the best morning talk for games you can find on YouTube. So take care, everyone. And I'll close out with something that I do every show. And I know that it's boring for some, but it means so much to me. My father taught me this when I was a kid, and I think I really want to just push this forward. Treat others how you want to be treated. And remember, folks, it doesn't cost anything to be nice. You live by those rules, and I can guarantee you're going to have an awesome day. Take care, everyone, and we'll see you soon.